Life. Life is messy. It's not perfect, and it never will be. Life is hard, but life is also so beautiful. And I think it's beautiful because it is messy, because it's not perfect. In my opinion, if it was perfect, there'd be no character. And character is what makes us, us. Although life is messy, it is beautiful. The imperfections is where the beauty lies. I think that's where photography and life are similar. I think that's why I've always gravitated towards images that aren't perfect. I like the grain, I like the scratches, I like the feeling. Because at the end of the day, photography is about feelings. So is life. So embrace the scratches and the imperfections. They're part of what makes life so beautiful. What's up, guys? It's your boy J Squared. We're here with another video, so thank you guys for being here. For the people that are new to the channel, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Jordan. Nice to meet you guys. I'm a sports photographer, videographer, lifestyle creator, all that fun stuff. But I shoot a ton of NBA games, kind of just whatever people need me for. So I'm a freelance photographer. And then yeah, obviously here we are on YouTube making these nice little fun videos. Today's video is actually a little bit different. Typically I create vlogs, highlight reels, and just trying to figure out who I am as a storyteller and creating like short videos and everything like that, vlogs on here obviously. But today's video is a little bit different, and today we are actually reviewing a product. So today's product is Dehancer, which, long story short, is a film emulation software system or software program that you can add into different video editing software such as like Premiere Pro, DaVinci, whatever you might edit in. And so Dehancer had actually asked me to make a review, which is, this is that. So I used Dehancer for about a month. So this is my 1 month review of Dehancer. So I just want to preface this in saying that I'm by no means a professional colorist or anything like that, but I do know what I enjoy visually, which typically tends to lean in the style of film, because personally I think that film creates it has such a unique feeling to it. It's very nostalgic, obviously, with film, being one of the first mediums of photography. I know that I like that feeling, and so when Dehancer had reached out to me to try it, it was kind of a no-brainer. Like, that's kind of the style that I like to edit in anyway. So here we are, 1 month later of trying Dehancer. So I will say, before we get fully into it, this isn't a tutorial. I'm not necessarily going to teach you guys how to use the program. There's tons of videos for that, and this video isn't that. This is just kind of my raw thoughts and opinions on my last month in using the program. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. We can start with the pros and cons of the program. So I would say definitely more pros than cons. So the first pro that I would say is, kind of the main premise of the program is it makes coloring your footage super easy. With these film emulations, which are essentially presets, it makes everything super easy. You kind of just honestly, you just kind of click what kind of film stock you want to use, and it'll just essentially literally what a preset is, it'll put it on top of your footage. And if you want to be done in one click, you can be done in one click. So that's definitely a pro. I think it is, it's perfect for people that may want their footage to look very nice and colored without having to take all the extra steps of manually coloring it themselves or learning how to color it themselves. So this is a very nice plug and play program that, essentially take their footage to the next level without having to take all those extra steps. Very easy. Another pro is it integrates really well into at least the program that I was using, which was Premiere Pro. I know they also have plugins for DaVinci, but the one that I was using was Premiere Pro, and it honestly was super easy to use. You literally just look up the effect Dehancer, drop that onto your little layer, your adjustment layer, however you edit, and then it'll kind of just give you this drop down menu of literally all of your options. So what kind of film you want to use, the overscans and everything like that. But we'll talk about that a little bit more, because some of those are my favorite features. But it makes it super easy. You kind of just click a couple buttons and your footage looks pretty good, I will say. So very, very easy. And another pro, again, one of the kind of the main purposes of the program is it adds a lot of character to your footage. With film photography, I think that a lot of people gravitate towards that because it has a very nice feeling. It's not super sharp. It's a little bit softer compared to now with everything being digital. everything is pretty sharp and, you know, sometimes a little bit too sharp, which is why I personally, in my photography and videography, lean in the style of film. Like, to be honest, I've never shot film, like, other than like a handful of rolls, but, you know, this is something that you can add a feeling to your footage, to your photos, to your videos, and have that feeling of nostalgia added very, very smoothly, very nicely, and very easily. Yeah, like I said, very easy to use. So yeah, I mean, I think that it adds a look, adds a feeling, and it softens up such, you know, what's typically a harsh and sharp look from digital to something that's like nice and easy to look at. And going into the cons of Dehancer, I would say honestly the main thing is it took a long time to render the footage. So to render and export, like once I added all of the Dehancer effects on top of my timeline, or like on top of my footage, it just took a really long time to export and, you know, and render. That's kind of the main con. And then I guess the price, I'll leave this up to you guys if this is a pro or a con. It could be a good deal. I'm gonna leave this up to you guys, but I think the lifetime is $449. So up to you guys if that's a pro or con. I think it's pretty good if this is something that you're gonna use all the time. I think it's a good investment. But yeah, I'm gonna leave that one up to you guys, but price is $449 for the lifetime. All right, so now that we're done with the pros and cons, let's go into some of the features that I liked. We'll talk about like 3 or 4 of the features, and the first one, it's hard not to talk about the film and the film developer. So starting with the film, there's a ton of film stock options that you can pick from, and it immediately transforms your footage. Like I said earlier, it's kind of like a one-click kind of thing where you pick what kind of film you want to use, and your footage just kind of transforms into, it goes from this dull kind of looking image to just, you know, something full of life, something full of character. Over the last couple of days, I've been using the Kodak Aero Color. That's one that I've kind of enjoyed, but honestly, I'm still trying to figure out what I like. I feel like there's so many different film options on there that every day I've just been kind of trying to try something new, just seeing what the energy of the film feels like, what the colors look like. Obviously, it's honestly just been kind of changing day to day, but this is one of the ones that you have to use. But I think it's a really fun one just because there's so many different options. And then with that, there's the film developer, which is, you know, you can kind of adjust your initial layer of the film stock, and you can add contrast, you can add color boost, something just to make it a little bit more you, instead of just trying to literally click that one button, but you can actually just customize it to your own needs and, you know, have a little bit more fun with it. So I like to add a little bit of contrast to everything. Like a lot of my work is a little bit punchier, where it's just everything is not necessarily more dramatic, but there's a little bit more separation between the highlights and the shadows. So that's definitely a feature that I use in the film developer. And I think, you know, just having an understanding of what you want to do with your image, I think that helps add to your story. So whether that's adding to a feeling of nostalgia or making a certain color pop, I think it's important to know what you want to do, and the film developer helps you get to that point. All right, so the next feature that I use, and again, these are all very easy to use because they're literally in a drop-down menu, but the next one that I use is halation, which is something that a lot of filmmakers, you know, especially on social media, have been using a lot. Essentially what the halation is, it's when light is kind of spreading to the edges of, like, certain edges of the photo. So like, let's say you have, like me, the halation would be like around my arm, so just like the edges of certain objects, the edges of you know, just certain parts of the images, light is just kind of leaking over it a little bit. So it's kind of like a reddish border, but I think it just adds a little bit of, to be honest, it just adds a little bit of extra flair to your image, adds a little bit of aura for the vibes. So I think it's something that adds a little bit of aura, a little bit of energy to the scene, and just, you know, kind of just continues to give your image character. But it's one that's one of my personal favorites because I think that it just helps your subject stand out a little bit more. It makes the image a little bit messier, like not as clean, but that's literally part of why I enjoy it. Like, you know, even in the sequence in the beginning of the video, I'm talking about how I don't necessarily want my images to feel clean. I want it to feel a little bit messy, and halation kind of adds to that, where, you know, it's not the perfect image and it's not exactly super sharp, but that's part of why I like it, and I think that it helps add to the feeling. But like I said, good energy, good aura. All right, so the next feature that I enjoy is film damage. So film damage is actually one of my favorites. I mean, these are all kind of my favorites, that's why I'm talking about them. But film damage is one that I really enjoy because honestly, I used to always just go to Google, try to find a video of, like, you know, just like scratches and dust on top of film, and I would add that to my photos, I would add that to my videos. But Dehancer does a really good job in adding that, you know, to the little drop down menu, and you can literally just click a couple buttons and add film damage. So in the video you can kind of see like dust and scratches all over the screen, and I think that that's really cool because it adds another dimension of movement into the video. Obviously not in photos, the photos aren't moving, but in videos for sure, because I think that it creates such an imperfect feeling. Again, all of this is because I'm a digital shooter, but I don't like all of my images to be perfect, and I don't want my work to be super sharp when it doesn't need to be. Like, my personal preference is I want it to have character. I want it to feel like there's something going on there instead of just being super flat. So I enjoy how rugged the film damage makes my footage feel, and it just feels a little bit more raw, a little bit less polished, which, you know, I think adds to the feeling of authenticity and, you know, having moments in life feel very raw. And the last feature that I've been using a ton in Dehancer has been the overscan. So I've been using the overscan as a visual effect to, you know, complement some of the other visuals in my video. All of this is just about adding character. So having those nice little film borders be integrated into my work and like have it be such a cohesive feeling. So obviously with the footage feeling like film, and now you're adding some borders to add a little bit of a visual effect and kind of bring everything together. So bringing the film scratches together, bringing the grain, bringing the halation together, everything all in this film border. I think that's a beautiful visual, and so that's something that I've really enjoyed. This one's very simple, but it's just literally the borders and kind of how you want to frame your image, but it's something that I've enjoyed, something that I think just, again, adds a little bit of life, a little bit of character to the footage. So very simple, but this is one that I've enjoyed a ton. Just to wrap things up, Dehancer I actually really did enjoy. I've been using it for a little bit over a month now, and honestly every video that I've made in that month I've used Dehancer. So I've had a lot of time with it, and I'm still looking forward to having more time with it. So definitely looking forward to trying out different film stocks, trying to play around with more of the features, and just like coloring my footage a little bit more uniquely. And, you know, it's such an easy interface to use, very easy, integrated well into Premiere. So I'm very excited to continue to learn it. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm not a professional colorist, so this is like, Dehancer has been super fun for me in my journey of figuring out like what I like for my colors, what story I want to tell, what feeling I want to evoke through the colors. So Dehancer has been super fun for me. I'll kind of leave it to you guys' judgment on, you know, if you want to try it or anything like that. But if you guys do want to try it, I do have a 10% off code for Dehancer. The code's going to be J2. It's going to be down in the description if you guys want to try it out. Like I said, 10% off. That's pretty fire. Before we end the video, I just want to say thank you to Dehancer for being in support of my channel, being in support of my videos, and allowing me to try their program. And, you know, obviously here we are creating a review. So Dehancer is definitely one of the first brands and companies to want to be on my channel and want to help out and support my journey. So I'm very thankful to Dehancer. So thank you guys if you guys are watching. On that same line of gratitude, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for watching the videos. Let me know if this is a program that you guys think you'll try, or if you know, if there's anything else that you guys feel adds to your videography, to your photography, and what are some other programs that you guys use? What are some other techniques that you guys use? Are you guys actually shooting film? Let me know all that. So film's definitely something that I eventually want to get into, but you know, with film, it's just like buying the film, developing the film, all of it kind of adds up price wise. So I haven't gotten there just yet, but I kind of do scratch the itch a little bit in, you know, developing some of those feelings and looks with Dehancer. So yeah, I mean, I've had a ton of fun with it. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this review. Let me know if there's any other products that you guys might want to see me review or talk about, or even just try out. Hope this gave a little bit of insight onto how I've been coloring my footage recently. Let me know if you guys have any other questions, but overall, I've enjoyed Dehancer. I hope you guys enjoy it when you try it. But I appreciate you guys as always. Let me know what you guys want to see in the future. Until next time, Mr. You Know Who Shot It, signing out. Peace.